Hannah and I absolutely are in love with love.
I can continue for another half an hour about just how we met. And the story goes on because then he moved to another country, and then he was, another country, from Brussels to Paris. And for another couple of years, he was coming back every Sunday to dance with me, so.
Really?
Yes. He was coming back because he wanted to, he didn't want to give up on this, and he was keeping hopes that for, one day we'll be together. And one day we got together. So we developed quite a nice friendship, basically. But we only saw each other in that place on that day, during that hour, and we were always dancing. So it was very, framed, this contacts that I had. And then at some point I said, okay, I'm becoming really schizophrenic because I think my heart is completely falling in love with, with this dance partner. He also took 2 years, to get back to me, because he was already in France and he had to close the business he was dealing with and come back, and it was very complicated. So I spent 2 years kind of waiting for him to finalize, his business in France and come back. So it was a waiting game somehow. And we continued seeing each other, dancing. So that was good because we never lost contact, never lost touch. Business-wise, he had to go through thick and thin. And when he came back, it's another crazy story. He came back only to discover that for some stupid administrative reason, he's now excluded from the local commune where he was inscribed, so he suddenly became illegal. I think the fact that we've been through so many things together, and that we were on the edge of losing each other in different ways, that finally now, whatever happens, we're a team. First and foremost, we're a team, and that is so precious. I think a lot of relationships fall apart because they didn't have this testing period. So the Epiphany, you're looking for epiphanies. I deducted that by watching several of your videos, of the Kaffeeklatsch videos. I'm like, this guy doesn't say it, but actually Epiphany is probably the most interesting point I find in the whole story. Well, I think for me, it's a long story, so it's going to be a long conversation. Well, I think everything started in 2012, actually, because it was the moment. Everything is linked. It was the moment when I moved out from the person with whom I didn't want to be anymore, and I'd rather be on my own, hoping for, a relationship with my dance partner who now is in France. But I kept my options open, and I said, I'm not going to force it. Let's see how serious he is. I've seen him since, I don't know, for 5 years. I've seen him, but I don't know if what he's like in the rest of the life, except dancing, And it was a hard period for me, and how the universe has its ways. And I, through a third person, I was introduced to a woman who became my spiritual guide. And she asked me this question that just shook the whole being of me. She said, "Why are you so unhappy?" And I was like, "But am I unhappy? But I had to ask myself, but am I unhappy?" And she said, "But of course, look at yourself. You're all miserable. Come on, I'm working with you for weeks now, and you are just like a heavy stone at the bottom of the river." She didn't use this expression, but And then this just shook me. I was like, "I'm not happy." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, well, I'm not happy because I'm in between relationships. I don't know what." No, she's like, "No, that's not the answer." I'm like, "I'm not happy because I'm alone." No, that's not the answer. And then I'm like, "I'm not happy because I don't like what I'm doing. I like the kind of the content, but it's not really what I want to do." And then that just clicked, and she kind of saw potential in me, so we grew together. Somehow I grew a lot with her. She's a teacher of Reiki. I don't know if you are familiar with Reiki.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, I'm a master of Reiki, And I also did some other things further down the line, which is Karuna and Shamba, whatever. Had to stop that at some point. It was amazing. This was the amazing journey that I was really, I felt like my wings are growing, you know. It was so my thing, you know. But then I got together with my man, and we started having kids. And that just completely turned around everything that I was doing, because suddenly the focus completely changed. And I had to stop that part of my life for a while, at least, for a while. And I changed my job because I thought that my part of my unhappiness was because of let's say, I didn't appreciate the management of the company where I was working. So I decided that I'm just going to change the company. And when I did that, I suddenly thought, actually, I'm kind of stupid, because it's not about that. It's just, I mean, it doesn't matter how many times I'm going to swap companies and, you know, work for someone else. It's not about that. It's about something else. You know, the answer is somewhere else. You know how they say, if you have a problem, you cannot find the solution in the same plane as the problem. You have to go higher to get the solution. And then I was like, okay, I have to figure it out. And I was really like myopic. I didn't know where to go, and I don't believe in myself as an entrepreneur and whatever. Although, you know, I'm an economist and I have an MBA, so in theory I could just do it, you know. But I didn't have the faith in myself until some point where I was like, oh wait, but I have friends who do blogging and they earn money from blogging. Bingo, you know. So it was beginning of 2019. I started a blog and I started blogging. So I was like, yes, finally, all this, because the other thing I was very interested in since 2012 is Vedic philosophy, and Sadhguru is part of it, of course. So I was listening to a lot of lecturers and trying to read some stuff also, and like not a day would pass without me trying to learn something from there. So imagine, it's been now 7.5 years I'm kind of in this field, so I've accumulated a lot of knowledge, and I started feeling a huge disconnect with a lot of people, with the majority of people, because I started following more and more, you know, the path of kind of a different path, let's say. And I felt, and also because of my pregnancies, you know, I stopped drinking. Because of my allergies, I became vegetarian. I was vegan for several years. So I cannot go out with everyone else anymore, because I'm not interested in getting drunk every week. You know, this is not something I like. And I cannot eat almost anything of what other people eat, because my diet is completely different. And now I have kids, so that kind of eliminates a huge chunk of people who still don't have kids, but who go out. And so I felt more and more kind of isolated, and also in a place where I want other people to discover this other life, more opportunities, you know, getting away from the addictions, you know, of alcohol, coffee, and drugs, and sugar, and everything, and discover a different world where you can be happier and learn new things, and not just, you know, get stuck in the physical world. So all these things are happening a lot in the background. And I decided that my blog is going to be dedicated to women, because that's what I know better. Because I still think, you know, they say women are so mysterious and unpredictable and unexplainable, but I'm like, sometimes I feel like men are even more mysterious, you know. Like, I just don't get some of the stuff, you know. And so I thought, well, I'm going to stick to women, because that's the part I feel I know better. And now that I'm a mother, there is a new angle to it that I can also kind of cover. And so I started blogging. And then one day in June 2019, Emil Sandel comes up, you know, one of the SFM heavy lifters. And, you know, in a very calm, in very quiet, in a very sincere, introvert way, he tells you that he cannot believe how many people are still trading their time, you know, working 9 to 5. And I'm like, wait a second, you are talking my language here, you know. And I couldn't I couldn't even start doubting. And I got very annoyed with the fact that he just kept on saying that I'm real and this is real, this is not a scam. I'm like, just move on and tell me something, of content. Just, and I was very excited, and I followed with very big interest all the videos, introductory videos. And then the journey started. At the end of June, I signed up and started following the modules, and it's how to say, for me today, it's my breather. Even though I'm working and I have 2 kids and I have to commute over 2 hours every day, 2.5 hours every day. I mean, on top of all that, I still have to do my modules and build my website and start, marketing. It's a lot of work and there is very little time for rest. But for me, I feel when I do this and when I speak with you, for example, I connect directly with people, from the SFM community. It's something that, it's a breather. It's something that gives me energy, So
when you are chilled and you concentrate on like the things that make you happy, like this, like having a conversation and I grow through it, and I get this energy that I can continue and take forth through my day and stuff. And then I'll maybe take some time off SFM and concentrate on my family and concentrate on the things that make me happy, and then get into doing something. I found that what I produce, I appreciate more. Mm-hmm. And it just feels better, because in the beginning I had this attitude of do, and I want the money to come in and then it's like, I think it got to a point where I never thought I'd think this, but I thought, okay, it's not about the money anymore. Mm-hmm. This shit feeling that you're feeling when you have to go to work every Monday through to Friday, that crappy feeling, you want to take that away for yourself, and you want to help others get out of that. Because then I started realizing, the more people I spoke to, is that we are like sheep, exactly. Like just, and it's so sad that we live in this kind of life, where we could have just been somewhere else with our family, in a place we want to be, just enjoying and trying to help others,
Exactly. It's like my husband, he says, we are like Gnu, which is the same as sheep, but African style, It's the same thing, Monday to Friday, all the winter season, everyone goes to work. Christmas, everybody moves away. Summer, everyone goes to the sea, It's like, it's Gnu people.
Yeah.
Being conditioned by the way the society works, in this real economy, you have no other choice. That's what you have, and that's it. And I think this ability to break away from this imposed way of being, and work on your terms is the most precious thing that you can get, at least as a professional, I think.
Yeah.
And that, of course, spills over into your private life, and you become a normal human rather than, a shouting, tired mother at the end of the working day, because you're still frustrated that you're in module 5. Every day brings something else, which is why, like, a lot of people, and even Stuart, he says daily planning, structure and everything. And I'm like, I'm so structured. How there is a saying, if you want something done, give it to the business person. The busiest person will make it done. The person who doesn't have anything to do is not going to do it. Yeah. And I truly feel this, the more busy I am, the more actually I can get done on top of what was planned. Yeah. But you don't need to give me a planner and say, these are the 3 things, because in the end of the day, there will be days where you'll be frustrated because other things came in urgently and some things take longer. And, I know what I have to do. I prefer to have main guidelines, I have to, become self-sufficient with SFM by the end of 2020. That's my ultimate goal.